Team Awesome is back!
Thank you, Varian, and welcome back to Tangled Talk with Team Awesome. Welcome back, everybody. Tangled is once again on the air once a week for its final 8 episodes of the series, and I am still not ready. We've had one of them already, and I am still not ready. I mean, it's 7 now, but it's actually back now, and I am sad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, today we're going to be discussing Pascal's Dragon, which turned out to be like a warm, fun way to kick off the end of the series. Something soft to guide us gently into the ultimate excitement and heartbreak to come. Because, like, dude, for reals. Before we start, I want to do a shout out to the final, 2 to 3 days before the series started up again, and, the absolute moon madness we went through deciding that literally everybody needed a moon version.
I was busy that day. I got back on Tumblr that night. I was like, what the heck did I miss?
I literally got on Tumblr, reblogged one I can't say it right now. I'm sick.
Moonwell.
Yeah. And I reblogged that to DP, and then I'm like, all right, I'm out. Bye. Can't do any more of this. I'm good.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was fun, but it was nuts. All right, so Pascal's Dragon is directed by Shane Zavin. It was written by Dave Schiff. The storyboards were by Todd Kurosawa, Anna Lencioni, and Dave Prince. And we begin on the Corona docks as the ship pulls away, and the appearance of Nigel reveals to us that this was a ship delivering goods from Nizarnia. Rapunzel and Pascal are thrilled to receive some of these goods, which include kumquats, merino wool, lavender oils, porcelain dolls, and of course, Nizarnian riding hats. Rapunzel tries on one of the hats and asks Eugene his opinion, to which he replies, I think I'll keep my thoughts to myself.
Rude.
Well, okay, so somebody asked me if I thought Rapunzel looked cute in the hat, and I said I think Rapunzel looks cute in anything, even stupid hats. So, I can acknowledge it was a stupid hat, but of course she looked cute in it.
I'm like, Eugene, how is it any stupider than the hat you wore in Before Ever After?
Uh-huh.
Right?
For 2 seconds before you threw it away.
Scoffing at his answer, Rapunzel decides to ask Pascal instead, and he gives her a thumbs up before making a disgusted face behind her back, but she notices and is amused by. Diving back into the boxes, Pascal comes up with a wrapped sphere, which Rapunzel unwraps, revealing a blue marble. It's large and warm. Pascal instantly takes a liking to it, but Nigel is skeptical. He thinks it must have been sent accidentally because it's not on the manifest, and that it would be best for everyone to send it back. But Rapunzel thinks Nigel is overreacting and is happy to let Pascal keep it. That night, Rapunzel and Pascal are asleep on her bed, and Pascal is laying on the blue sphere, but it starts to bounce and roll away from him, waking him up. He follows it across the floor and out of the bedroom door, but when he finds it in the hall, a pink spike pokes out through it before it resumes rolling down the hall, Pascal following. It runs into a pillar and cracks all over, and then a little head pops out. Pascal is shocked to discover that this blue sphere is a dragon egg, but we are not shocked because it's in the title and because the episode description, we totally knew that this was going to be a dragon. Squirrels on Tumblr noticed that those blue balls in the House of Yesterday's Tomorrow that first Shorty and then Lance wouldn't leave alone in Mirror Mirror look an awful lot like this egg. And it seems highly suspicious to me that in Day of the Animals, there was a shell necklace that turned out to be a magical prison, and no one knew where it came from. And now there was this blue egg, much like the spheres that were in the House of Yesterday's Tomorrow. And again, no one knew where it came from. So I think that their series is trying to subtly imply that Matthews has been sending magical items to Corona in an attempt to imprison or kill Rapunzel, so that when they inevitably release Don Thierry, no one will be there to stop them. So, I mean,
Great.
It's just so suspicious. It really is. They're just keep magical items keep showing up and no one knows where they come from. I'm like, magical items that really ring of Matthew's aesthetic. What the hell? Yeah. So
she foils everyone. She just becomes friends with all of them. He's like, dang.
Right. Pascal and the dragon are nose to nose for a moment before the dragon resumes hatching. Once it's fully hatches, Pascal runs against the closest column and camouflages with it. When the baby dragon can't find him, he screams out of alarm and then promptly demonstrates how bad it is at walking, as newborns often are. As it toddles away, Pascal follows once again, soon running around to the front of it to examine it more closely. The dragon starts to mimic Pascal's postures and gestures until Pascal pirouettes in an attempt to see if it can copy him. It tries very adorably. A fly zooms by, and Pascal grabs it with his tongue. Then, curiously, he takes it out of his mouth and lets it go, and the dragon tries to catch it the same way, but his tongue isn't long enough, and he falls over, completely endearing himself to Pascal. The two go running out to play, demonstrating that this dragon, like so many other animals, resembles a dog in demeanor. And Pascal camouflages against the fountain wall as they run around it in circles, and the dragon gets confused when he can't find him. Pascal reveals himself, and the dragon screams with glee, but much too loud, and Pascal gently chides him so that the dragon corrects his volume. Sleepy after hatching and running around, the dragon yawns, so the two go off to sleep in a tree, the dragon curled around Pascal. In the library, Nigel is burning the midnight oil, looking up everything he can possibly find on the blue sphere so he can properly identify it. Exhausted, he reaches for another book with a dragon on the cover and exclaims, "I knew it!" The next morning, Pascal wakes up to find that his new dragon friend is easily 10 times as big as he was the night before. In Rapunzel's room, there's a pounding on the door, and a groggy and cranky Rapunzel replies to the insistent knocking, "No! Who is it? Go away! I'm coming. Hold on just a minute." Nigel calls her. God, she's like amazing.
She's so cute.
Sleepy.
God, it's honestly, we all know she's actually a morning person, so it's kind of great to see her thrown off her game. It's so cute. I love her so much. Nigel calls her urgently from the other side of the door, and when she answers, he immediately tells her that the Nazardinian marble isn't a marble, but a dragon egg. Rapunzel has never looked less put together in the entire series.
And she's perfect.
I'm sorry. Just waking up. Can you say the part about the whole thing you were just saying? As she falls back asleep against the doorframe. Nigel gets her to wake up fully, and she does so and takes a look at the book, admitting that the illustration does look like Pascal's marble. Nigel argues that dragons are terribly dangerous and that they must get rid of it at once. Meanwhile, Pascal is leading his dragon friend playfully up the hall, playing with a tree branch with him. It kind of reminds me of a cat toy, that sort of deal. He overhears the conversation. Rapunzel wants to take another look at the marble because she's sure that's all it is. But she promises that if it turns out to be a dragon, she'll do anything to keep Corona safe, even if it means destroying the dragon. Worried and scared for his friend, Pascal leads the baby dragon away so he can hide him properly. After a close call with Old Lady Crowley, Pascal shoves the dragon in a cupboard, in a moment very reminiscent of Rapunzel shoving Eugene in her wardrobe in the movie. Up to and including Pascal poking the fringe of the dragon's tail into the closet crack of the door like Rapunzel did Eugene's fingers.
As soon as he went for it, I was like, "Aww." We're going real heavy with the movie references this season.
Yep. They really are. They're being like, "Hey, remember how this is Tangled?"
And we're like, "Yes, we never forgot." Goofballs.
Rapunzel finds Pascal, and while she's in the middle of explaining the situation to him, the dragon shatters the cupboard from the inside and sits there panting adorably like a dog. It didn't occur to me until the second watch through that what probably happened was he grew too big for the cupboard and shattered it because he's just too big now. I mean, he was barely fitting as it was. She manages to get the dragon into her room without anyone noticing, but tries telling Pascal that keeping a dragon around the castle is probably a bad idea, primarily because dragons breathe fire. But then the dragon comes up to Pascal and licks him, and Rapunzel's heart melts. Okay, that was really cute. Realizing that they've hit it off, she observes that the dragon is a sweet little big guy, and then comes upon the name Little Big Guy.
Can I just say I hated that? I was like, I'm sorry, Rapunzel is the most creative person ever?
She's tired. It's early.
She names a dragon Little Big Guy?
Well,
chameleon is named Pascal.
Yeah, but how much time did she have to name Pascal? She probably just been reading philosophy and mathematics, and that's how she came up with Pascal. And she's like, "Oh, the first thing that comes off the top of my head while I'm talking."
She got woken up early. She was off her game this entire episode.
Absolutely.
I just was like, big guy.
Little Big Guy. That was a little, It seems to me that it's more like the writers couldn't figure out what to name the dragon.
I'm like, talk to me. Have none of you seen my name list? Jesus. You could also just show me the design and I could name him. That's how I normally name things. My skeleton, I looked at him and I was like, Carmichael. And my giant pumpkin that I got for Halloween, I was like, Beauregard. It comes to me. It just comes to me. Goofballs. Okay. I'm done ranting about names.
She agrees to let little big guy. I know what your problem is. Your problem is that you're going to have to put this on your name list, and you're going to be like, it's exactly what it looks like it is. That's what it means.
I'm just going to write, doesn't mean anything at all, because the writers aren't creative in this instance.
She agrees to let little big guy stay until they can figure out what to do with him, but informs Pascal that they need to keep him quiet so that they don't cause a panic. Little big guy roars his approval, and she cheerfully notes that they'll work on the quiet part. She points out that they can't keep him in the castle, so they'll need to train him to survive. Hence, cue literally everybody's How to Train Your Dragon references.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing they need to do is to get him out without attracting attention. While wagging his tail, little big guy thumps it against a nearby table, giving Rapunzel an idea. She recruits the help of Eugene, and together they carry the table with little big guy hiding under it. Sunshine, the next time you want me to move furniture, I would appreciate it if it were actually furniture.
I'm so sad we didn't get to see that conversation happen. She's like, "Good
just
morning. So we have an issue."
And Eugene's like, dragons exist? All right, whatever.
She's like, okay, so I need you to help me move a table. And he's like, oh, okay. I mean, that's not the weirdest thing you've ever asked me to do. Gets into a room. Okay, this might be the weirdest thing you've ever asked me to do.
Oh.
Little big guy steps on Eugene's foot, and while he's owing over that, attention is drawn to them. Then Rapunzel and Eugene work as an amazing cover-up team, as Rapunzel tells everyone that there are free, and Eugene fills in without a beat, pastries in the throne room, effectively getting everyone out of their way. They get little big guy out into the forest where Rapunzel begins instructing on the basic skills. Tuck and roll, he rolls onto Eugene. What's good to eat and what's not. Out of the options of an apple and a rock, little big guy eats the table that they're sitting on. How to fly. Rapunzel and Eugene demonstrate with their arms how he should flap his wings, and the downdraft blows them against a nearby tree. As Pascal tumbles down, he changes color at every bounce, rolling into the stump where little big guy was practicing. Little big guy sniffs Pascal and turns crimson past the same color of crimson that Pascal is. Pascal turns blue, and little big guy copies him again. Rapunzel pulls out the Book of Dragons, saying that she's read about this. Dragons can magically adopt characteristics of someone they love, but also give some of their own characteristics to said loved ones as well. I will give Tangled credit for coming up with a brand new thing that I have never heard of in any lore ever anywhere. Pascal is now sporting a horn, tiny wings, and a fringe at the end of his not curly tail. Squealing with excitement, Rapunzel holds Pascal out to little big guy and exclaims, "Twinsies!" Pascal turns red and black plaid, but when little big guy tries to copy him, he only manages teal with purple polka dots. Looks very much like Sully, if you ask me. Look, don't worry. Learning to go plaid takes time. I'm assuming. I'm no plaid expert, but I do love a tartan, which only makes me want Eugene in a kilt, okay?
Also, I was like, he and Aziraphale would be friends. He thinks tartan is stylish. I was sick and half asleep, even though it was 1 p.m. when I watched this episode, and I was like, he and Aziraphale will be friends. And then I went back to watching the episode.
Rapunzel suggests that they resume flying lessons the next day, but in the meantime, little big guy needs to try to lay low. She bids them goodnight, and them being little big guy and Pascal. And as she and Eugene walk away, he reminds her that they owe people some pastries, and she comments that they'll stop by Attila's on the way. I gotta say, I love that minor exchange because it's very domestic and it adds a nice little flavor of casual conversation that has nothing to do with the main plot, but references how the two of them are making good on the free pastry stunt that they pulled earlier.
Me too. I was like, why do I love this little conversation so much? It was so cute.
I'm like, it's so randomly adorable. I love it. Instead of listening to Rapunzel, Pascal decides to try to practice flying some more. He and little big guy pile up hay bales around a tree, which they climb. Teetering at the very top of the tree, Pascal convinces little big guy to attempt to fly again. And just as he gets up the nerve to, the tree breaks and they fall. Before they hit the ground, though, the wind catches under little big guy's wings and the two sail off for only a few seconds before they crash into another tree. Unhurt, they laugh it off. They stop laughing, though, when little big guy shoots a powerful blast of green flame from his mouth. He started a forest fire. The flames dance in Pascal's eyes as he looks on in shock, and that is like seriously one of the best bits of animation in the entire episode.
It's the weirdest shot I've ever seen. I was like, what is happening? It was so funny.
The fire is spotted by Stan and Pete, who are on watch in the local guard tower. They raise the alarm, and guards and Eugene and Rapunzel go out to help to put out the blaze. Nigel comes along, and while there, he discovers the dragon tracks. He viciously says that they must find it immediately, and Eugene points out that he really has it out for dragons. Reminder for those who forgot, even though a lot of people have brought it up, Nigel's greatest fear and be very afraid was that there were dragons destroying the kingdom. So,
it's all coming full circle.
It is, like, surprisingly so. Like, guess what I was not expecting? Nigel backstory.
Right.
So
Nigel redemption arc.
That he has loved a dragon once as a child. We flash back to a young Nigel with an angelic, excited smile, following baby dragon tracks from a shards of a broken egg to their owner, who is hiding in the brush in the forest. He takes the baby dragon home with him despite people's protests, but it turns out to be a mistake when the dragon's family comes looking for him and set the villain on fire, destroying everything. He has since vowed never to make that mistake again, and now we understand why Nigel is the way he is about keeping people and the kingdom safe, because he doesn't ever want it to be his fault again, having witnessed it, the destruction of a town because of something he did. And I think that includes, like, he doesn't want it to be his fault due to inactivity either.
Mm-hmm.
So he says that the dragon is a threat and that it must be eliminated at once. Rapunzel tells him to let her handle it and that she'll talk to Pascal, and tells him not to do anything until she gives the word. But as soon as Rapunzel and Eugene are gone, Nigel orders the guards to go after the dragon immediately, capture it if they can, but if necessary, destroy it. And I'd like to point out that yeah, he got really, really harsh, but, like, destroy it only if necessary was definitely something he straight up said. So it's like, not like he was out to, like, kill the dragon altogether. It's just, you know, it's not hard to see why he would get that far.
He wasn't singing the mob song from
Yeah. He really wasn't. So Rapunzel and Eugene are going around town looking for Pascal and Little Big Guy. As they search the town, Rapunzel hears a screech that she recognizes as Little Big Guy, and almost immediately after, a nearby baby cries, and its mother goes to soothe it. With that, Rapunzel realizes that Little Big Guy is calling for his mother. As she explains this to Eugene, Stan and Pete run by, and he asks them if they've seen Pascal or the dragon. Pete says that they're looking and that they have their orders, and Stan explains that Nigel told all the guards to find the dragon and eliminate the threat. Angrily, Rapunzel tells him to stand down, that the search for the dragon is off. Stan and Pete realize that she just told them that they don't have to go looking for a very dangerous beast, and excitedly run to tell the closest regiment of guards to stop the search.
Oh, the Corona guards.
Guards, I swear, guards. Eugene realizes that there's a whole massive hunt going on and that they'll never be able to stop all the guards before Little Big Guy is found and hurt. Rapunzel points out that the best guard in the force is on their side and whistles. And here comes Maximus in another movie callback as he parts the crowd of guards with his front legs, which is like my favorite visual gag in all of Tangled is Max doing that, because it's like, he doesn't even change elevation. He doesn't stand up on his hind legs to do that. He keeps his body parallel to the ground when he does that. That's how it works, and I love it because it's so ridiculous. Like, you know why there's always a crowd? There's always a crowd because they don't have to actually animate him standing like that. God, I love it. Pascal is in the forest with an armload of 3 berries, calling out for Little Big Guy. But when he finds him, Little Big Guy has noticeably grown again. He is now the size of a horse. Little Big Guy roars against the night sky, and Pascal frantically shushes him. Here comes Nigel. He and the guards are armed with barrels of a dragon sleeping potion that Xavier has concocted.
He did that real fast. Like,
maybe it didn't take long, you know?
He probably had Varian help.
Probably.
Varian's like, dragons?
Varian was like, destruction! Gotta fix that!
I'm a good boy, I promise! Little Big Guy and Pascal show up in front of them, and there's a comedic moment where Little Big Guy and one of the guards scream in terror at each other over and over and over until Nigel, who has been looking back and forth between them like watching a tennis match, gets fed up with this and throws one of the barrels at Little Big Guy. Pascal falls off Little Big Guy's back and tumbles to the ground. Little Big Guy spends a few moments looking like maybe the sleeping potion wasn't going to work, but then he goes down hard. On Nigel's order, the guards wrap Little Big Guy in a net, just as Pascal is getting up. He tries to stop the guards by pulling on the net, but that doesn't work. They tie Little Big Guy to the arm of a catapult suspended off the ground. As he watches his friend get tied up, he hyperventilates a little, and then he realizes that he's got sparks and smoke coming out of his mouth. He's been given the ability to breathe fire. Using this to his advantage, Pascal shoots a stream of fire at the net, releasing Little Big Guy, who shakes off the sleep potion and roars his gratitude. The two of them bound off into the forest, Nigel glaring after them. On Max's back, Rapunzel and Eugene are racing up to Mount Saison, stopping every group of cars that they see on the way and telling them to stand down. Little Big Guy and Pascal are running, but there are 3 guards in hot pursuit. They hide against a boulder, camouflaging to match it. The guards run by, but when Pascal and Little Big Guy change back, the guards spot them. The guards reverse their direction and run at them, but then Pascal shoots several small fire blasts to ward them off. The guards stop. Oh, well, I think I'll call it a day. I'm with you. Sounds like a plan, and too bad we couldn't find that dragon. Like, that last line is the one that made me be like, guards, come on. Like, seriously, guys, seriously.
This is why everyone breaks out of the jail all the time.
It was so funny.
Oh my god, I just had a thought. I'm going to have to pause this to voice my thought. Because I just said it's no wonder that the horse is the best guard on the force. What if Captain doesn't come back after the end of the next episode? Like, what if, like, oh, dang. Just like, what if he doesn't return to Corona?
Like, because he chooses to, or because he's dead?
No. Just like, because, like, we have that one screen cap where, like, he and little baby Cass are in the hot air balloon.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, maybe he just leaves. You know?
That would be so weird.
That would be so weird.
Oh, wait. I just had a thought, too.
What?
What if he's taking little baby Cass and he's like, I failed her. I failed raising her. I'm going to raise this new little baby Cass to be better.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm also wondering if, like, he's so completely delusional from being on this island for God knows how long that...
A million Cass, possibly.
Dang, this is not a good thought.
Yeah.
Dang, I don't like this.
Really sad.
I don't like this. Okay, moving on to happier things.
Wee woo, wee woo.
Wee woo, wee woo. As Pascal and Little Big Guy look pleased at each other, Rapunzel calls for them, and they step out from behind the rock. She wonders what they're doing up there on Mount Saison, and Little Big Guy looks up into the sky where in the distance, against the full moon, you can see the whole family of dragons flying. Rapunzel gets out her telescope for a better look. She comments that they've got to help him reach them, and he gives her a look, which lets her know that they were already doing that. So, you know, step 2 of Rapunzel's just tired today. She's just like, ha, I can't be bothered.
She's like, my bad.
Nigel spots Rapunzel and her party, dragon included, walking up the mountainside path. He tells the guards who have loaded a catapult with 3 more barrels of the sleeping stuff to fire on his signal. He gives the command and they release the catapult. The barrels come hurling in, but Max and Little Big Guy start to run again, dodging the barrels. Well, most of them. Little Big Guy runs into the smoke cloud caused by a barrel that lands just in front of him, and as the smoke clears, we see that he's teetering at the edge of the cliff, drowsy from the potion. Rapunzel runs to his aid, grabbing him around the neck and trying to haul him away from the cliff. But he sways too far, and he, Rapunzel, and Pascal plummet over the edge just in time for Eugene to reach out to them and watch them fall.
And they make us think that Rapunzel and Pascal are gonna die again.
Nobody thought that.
The way Eugene yelled, I was like, oh, my heart.
I know! I'm like,
wait, no, it'll be fine.
It's fine.
Eugene thought that. None of us thought.
Yeah.
They fall and fall.
They can't trick us anymore.
We can tell. They fall and fall, but Pascal manages to wake Little Big Guy up by swatting him in the face with his tongue. Another movie reference, not done as gracefully as the other two. And Little Big Guy wakes up with a start, just in time to pull up in flight. It takes a few moments for Little Big Guy to get control, but now he's flying off, Rapunzel on his back and Pascal clinging to his horn. Eugene and Maximus beam from the cliff face as they watch them fly. And that's like, considering they just showed his face for a second, I'm like, that's so cute!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's so happy and happy for her. It's so great. And now it's the most beautiful sequence in the episode. Rapunzel's dragon's flight. They soar over the forest, diving down to skim water, and then up again, racing these startled crows into the night sky. They plunge through clouds silhouetted against the full moon, and as they swoop down again, Rapunzel's clinging to Little Big Guy's neck, and her hair is animated so beautifully I could cry.
Mm-hmm.
She watches as Pascal lets go of Little Big Guy's horn with all but one foot, and she screws up her courage and lets go too, holding her arms out and smiling hugely.
I have 2 comments about this scene.
Okay.
One, I thought it looked very similar to when Harry reads the Hippogriff in the 3rd Harry Potter movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, when they were flying with the crows, I really just wanted Hammy to show up.
Flying upside down.
I just wanted it to be this beautiful scene, and then Hammy's just like, "Wah!" out of nowhere.
Honestly, when they were flying with the crows, when they were flying with the crows, my immediate thought was, oh, they're still watching Eugene.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter where, they're still watching him.
They are, but I really wanted
No,
him.
I did too. I did too. I really did too. They come in for a gentle landing at the cliff. Well, gentle for all but Eugene. Little big guy deliberately lands on him, pinning him down. Yeah, I love you too. And then he licks him affectionately right up the face. He makes a cute little M-mouth annoyed expression.
After that
But
part.
honestly, you know what? Like, seriously, Eugene in this entire episode, he is so incredibly, like, go with the flow.
Mhm.
He really is.
While he's not, like, super duper bondy with little big guy, he is extremely, like, he obviously likes him. And it's like, oh, he likes him. That's so cute. You don't expect that of Eugene.
It was
Rapunzel
glorious.
tells little big guy that it's time to shriek his loudest, and so his family can find him. But he hesitates sadly because he loves Pascal and is going to miss him. Pascal smiles encouragingly, and little big guy smiles back, and then turns to the sky and roars for his family. And by his side, Pascal uses his borrowed dragon's roar to call to them too. The dragon family turns back for him. Little big guy and Pascal say their goodbyes, hugging and nuzzling each other. Nigel witnesses this through his telescope and has a change of heart. Reminded of his youth and knowing that the dragon is leaving on his own will, he tells the guards to let the dragon go. Little big guy flies off, and though Pascal waves with a smile, once he's gone, Pascal's face falls and he cries. The next day, Pascal is undragonified, just regular old chameleon, and he's morosely rolling a blue marble between his front feet on the floor of the castle. Rapunzel picks him up, much to his surprise, and tells him that she knows how hard it is to say goodbye to a friend, and that she made him something to help him feel better. She takes him to her room, where she's painted a picture of little big guy and dragon Pascal against the night sky, right in the canopy of her bed. She ties Pascal to her hair and hoists him up, flying him around the painting. And then I cried.
Oh, it was so sweet.
And things that, while we're writing up these talking points, I realized that part of the why this episode got me so much harder than I expected it to is because Pascal is me and Little Big Guy is the series. And my good times with the series are coming to an end, and it's what's right, and it's how it should be, because I don't want a series to go on and on and on until it doesn't really have a plot anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I never expected to have a dragon in my life in the first place, but now that it's getting ready to fly off, I am happy and proud of it. But by it I mean the cast and the crew. But it doesn't change the fact that I am heartbroken that I'm losing this dragon.
Mm-hmm. So
that was like a bit of a shock to be like, oh, I'm like ridiculously sad, but also happy, but also sad.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we have gotten the surprising emotion fest done, we can go over the iTunes season 3B description. So if you don't want any spoilers, turn this off now.
Yeah.
Are you gone?
Yeah, goodbye.
Okay, thank you for listening. If you don't want spoilers, so okay.
See you next week.
So here we go. So Kelsey realized that the new episodes means new descriptions on iTunes, so she wisely took a look and discovered some plot points that we did not already know. The entire thing reads: after receiving a message from Owl, Rapunzel and Eugene travel back to the island of the Lorbs, where they reconnect with an old friend, the captain of the guard. Rapunzel plans a surprise party for Eugene, but those plans are foiled when Cassandra crashes the party. And when Varian is taken prisoner, it's up to Rapunzel to travel to Cass's new fortress and to rescue him. With the wind in her hair and a fire within, Rapunzel will soon come to face with her true destiny. So, personally, I think that these descriptions are for Islands Apart, which we already knew, Cassandra's Revenge, and Race to the Spire, respectively.
I've seen a lot of people who think this is all one episode.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no.
No.
Episode.
We know for a fact that Islands Apart is definitely different.
Yeah.
I guess it could be possible the Varian stuff happens in the same one.
But it kind of makes more
like
sense
she
for the Race to the Spire.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's
no, absolutely, it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we do not know, exactly when these are going to happen, but we can presume that this is Cassandra's Revenge. The thing about Cass showing up at the birthday party is like, well, that we already know that Cass is coming back to Corona during the mid-season. So it really only goes, and then we know that after the mid-season, they leave Corona to go to the Spire.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense to think that, that's going to be Cassandra's Revenge is when, the birthday party happens. And hang on, Rapunzel is planning Eugene a surprise party. So that means that, like, the 2 times in his life he's had a birthday, it's because she surprised him with a party.
And you know what this means? If he's having a birthday party, it means we're getting a real Eugene birthday. And you know what that means? It means Edmund's coming back.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I was talking about how excited I was that Edmund was coming back, and my dad was like, "Oh, where did he go?" And I'm like, "He hasn't been in any of the episodes since episode 2."
Hamiel hung behind,
Hamiel's
but
been in more episodes.
Edmund, I think he got lost.
I headcanon that Edmund is working with Lance to do tours around the castle.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because it's not like he knows anything about the castle, so that would be an amazing
Exactly.
He's like, yeah, I'm helping. He's just trying to learn.
And of course, because he speaks his inner monologue out, you know, he'd be like, "I actually have no idea what this room is."
He's a great guy.
And people would be like, "Okay."
I actually have no idea what this room is, but I'm glad everyone's listening to me so raptly.
God.
But okay, so also, to be fair, when you read the description, it does not explicitly say that Cassandra is the one who kidnaps Varian. It says Varian is kidnapped and they have to go to Cassandra's fortress to get him back.
Maybe it's Zontiri.
Maybe it's Matthews, who we've already speculated is dropping magical items in Corona. But all things considered, if it's not actually actively Cassandra, there's no reason to think that she is not involved in him being kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized something.
What's up?
If Cass is going to be a servant of Zontiri, she's just taken her mom's place.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
So another thought, because we already know that they are going to the Spire to get a weapon. Wait, did we read the other description? Like the description of the Spire on here? Because we got that description, but we got that one.
So, maybe?
Did we read the Spire's description?
I don't remember.
So. We got that one after. No, because you know what?
I don't think
time
so.
we record something, we get more information. Okay, guys, hang on a second. I'm going to look up the description
we
of
didn't
the Spire,
have it.
because we have a description of what's going to happen in Race to the Spire, which we have not yet gone over in Tangled talk, because it happened between the last podcast and now.
I think it happened like the day
I'm sure it did.
Or something. Like, we recorded, and then, okay, what happened is the day that we recorded, we got that video promo, finally, and then the next day we got this episode description, and we're like, gah. Or like the day after we posted, we got the episode description or something like that. So anyway, Race to the Spire's description. Rapunzel, Eugene, and an old friend, Calliope, race to the Spire in an attempt to stop Cassandra from acquiring a deadly weapon. So that, combined with Varian is kidnapped. We've got a lot of speculation going on right now. And speculation is things such as, we know that Varian can translate the old language. So people are wondering if maybe he's kidnapped because she's found a spell that she needs him to translate and read. You know, a spell like maybe one that will release Zontiri. If they're trying to get to...
We will!
If Cassandra's got a fortress, does that mean that she has turned the entire Spire into her fortress? If that's the case, Kurlock, oh my gosh, where's our giant bear? You know, I don't want to see what's happened to our poor giant bear.
What about the baby bear? Is the baby bear okay?
Okay, you know what? I just had a thought. Okay, so if Rapunzel, Eugene, and Calliope are all racing to the Spire, that means Calliope went to Corona, which makes me wonder if Cass showed up, took the place over, and Calliope ran for help. Because she's like, I only know one person who can stop this lady, her daughter! And, she called Cass her mom in the episode. Anyway.
Oh, right. Which is funny, because they have the same mom, technically.
Not technically, because Rapunzel's mom technically is Ariana.
Well, yeah, no, I meant... Never mind.
But yeah, so Cass is going after a weapon, and so Varian gets kidnapped. And so we all presume that Varian is kidnapped. Actually, I can't say we all presume this because I've seen a lot of speculation on this. But I personally presume that Varian is kidnapped because he can help with the weapon somehow. Like,
maybe Varian is kidnapped in the end of Cassandra's revenge.
That's what I was
next
thinking.
Episode, they're like, crap! We gotta go get Varian! He's a small boy! we can't let her hurt the small boy.
And he just feels bad the entire
maybe
time. He's
she
like, oh,
shows
so
up-
that's what this feels like. Ooh.
He's like,
Maybe-
oh, jeez.
maybe Cass shows up in Corona to like deal with Rapunzel, because the last time we saw Cass, and obviously we're going to see her or something very similar to her in Islands Apart. Although I still suspect that in Islands Apart, we're not seeing the real Cass. We're seeing something that the captain's mind created.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on in Islands Apart. But
once again, it could be something created by Matthews or
yes, it could be.
Sonatiri or any of that.
I mean,
nonsense.
it's like I am not above thinking that it's a deliberate thing used to cause yada yada yada.
Or there could just be another separate magical item on the Lorbs Island that they somehow didn't run into.
Because it was like buried somewhere in the jungle.
Yeah.
But so maybe she shows up at Corona to, because the last time we saw her, Enchanted Girl was telling her basically you're gonna have to kill Rapunzel if you want to get what little shred of the moon power she's got back from her. So I think she's gonna show up to Corona to try to kill Rapunzel, and when that's not working, nice, right on Eugene's birthday. Jeez.
I still love that Tumblr post.
To celebrate his birthday.
There was a Tumblr post where it was like the enchanted girl was like, so what are you going to do to exact revenge? And she's like, I'm going to crash Eugene's stupid birthday party. I'm like, it's so canon. Like,
Yeah. He gets to celebrate his first real birthday, and Cass is like, ha, nope.
Nope.
it's so petty. I love
Not
it.
today, son.
It's so Cass.
Rapunzel never loved me. She never threw me a birthday party.
Oh, man.
But so I mean, it's entirely plausible that after she fails again and again and again to kill Rapunzel in, over the course of his birthday party shenanigans, she might see Varian and suddenly just get this new idea and be like, well, if I can't get her, bada bing.
Just
grab the
yoink
boy.
the boy.
Honestly, though, if that's the case, if she takes Varian at the end of Cassandra's Revenge, then that will make the mid-season feel like 3 episodes also. Because then Race of the Spire is a continuation of the mid-season.
Yeah.
So,
Just a
That'd be
week
cool.
to get our thoughts together.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes, indeed.
Excited.
So, anyway, that's the insanity that's going on in the Tangled fandom right now, as we are regrettably counting down until the series ends. I'm a sad monkey.
but I also want to know how it ends. I have so many questions.
It's just not okay, man.
I know.
Well, we might not know exactly how it ends, but we do know what happens afterwards.
Yes. And
The
I will
most
say,
important thing.
I knew that I was going to be sad watching these last few episodes, but I never particularly guessed that they would so easily get me to be excited to see episodes. I'm like, oh no, I want to see them and all, but I really don't want the series to end. And then they're all like, Rapunzel's Chris Eugene, your birthday party. I'm like, give me the episode.
You're like, a week is too far away. I want it now.
It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. That's the episode after the next
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Too far away.
It's too far away. So, yeah. Yep. So Tangled Madness is completely set in very, very hard because
We've got 12 days from recording this until that episode comes out.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess
man.
11 technically, because it'll come out early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's going to be interesting and fun and good and great and awesome and scary and bad and all the things.
We get to see Eugene celebrating his birthday with his dad,
You know
though,
what?
and that's all I care about.
Here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if that's when he cries.
Oh, don't even
Because we've been
talk
thinking
about
he's
it.
gonna cry because Rapunzel dies again, or Rapunzel dies or something. He's gonna cry for her, or he's gonna think she's dead and he cries. But what if he actually cries out of the pure joy of getting to have a dang birthday party?
I'll cry.
So yeah, I've
Damn,
got a lot of
Ricky.
speculation buzzing around in my head right now about what might and might not be the cause of the tears and dang, and we only have a couple episodes left that we don't really know what's going on.
I know.
Because we've just got A Tale of Two Sisters, Flynn Foster, Once a Handmaid, and Plus Temps Vu, which we at least know is the series finale.
Yep.
But other than that, we don't know how we're going to get from where we are to there. And so it's like, how do we only have so few episodes left? This isn't cool, man.
Crazy.
So I anticipate fully that I'm going to cry watching every single episode for some reason or another. I'm going to cry watching every single episode for the rest of the series. So, yeah.
Oh.
Untimes. So anyway, now that we've been total downers at the end of our total not downers, thanks for joining us, guys. We are excited to be back on and doing this regularly for the next couple of weeks, and we will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.